Well, Sam, thank you for joining us. Welcome to M.I.C.E. And what's happening at ICC Sydney at the moment? Any new developments taking place, or what's the latest news?
Oh, look, we just keep doing what we do best, which is welcoming, winning and running fabulous international events. We've had a great kick-off to the year. And of course, you'll remember we held an event in February called Respect, where we invited our clients We invited our clients in order to introduce them to our legacy program partners, because we talk a lot about our legacy program, and we decided we'd hold an event that would enable us to show customers our legacy program and the community that we've developed through that program.
And you also have a disability inclusion program. You have the First Nation employment program as well. So how are those being what's the feedback on those kind of programs you've launched?
Yeah. So our legacy program covers 5 pillars. The First Nations pillar, which seeks to connect event organisers and association and meeting organisers from around the world with cultural experiences, unique cultural experiences, but also knowledge. So there's some great talent, and First Nations people are renowned around the world for their land management practices. They've been living and working in harmony with country for tens of thousands of years, and there's still so much that the West can learn from that community. So as well as those wonderful, unique cultural experiences, it's understanding the talent within the First Nations community, but also introducing them to the many First Nations businesses that can be brought in to service events.
Why is that so important, to bring in that cultural heritage to your events?
Well, the cultural heritage is something that's alive today, of course, and it's something that's very unique to our place. And First Nations people believe that when you walk on someone else's country or you visit someone else's place, you need to be invited in, because they have a deep respect and connection to every part of that community: the land, the water, the animals, the flowers, the fruits, the plants. And in order to visit someone else's place, you should be welcome there. And so that cultural practice is really an introduction and a welcome to this place.
Yeah, and social impact's a big part of what you do as well, isn't it? You get a lot of the local community involved as well in terms of the events that you do run?
Yeah, so obviously that's a huge priority for us, is the First Nations side, but another pillar is our creative industry side. So we seek to create opportunities for emerging talent. So we have partnerships with a number of talent development projects and courses, and they have the talent coming out of these groups is just absolutely phenomenal. It's international class. Many of the alumni end up in the West End or on Broadway or in the charts in America. So it's great talent. You have an opportunity to be a part of growing that talent through opening ceremonies or cocktail parties and those sorts of things.
And you place a very close focus on your catering as well, the food side of things, and the impact, the carbon footprint each bit of the menu has as well. So you obviously locally source a lot of your products, your wine as well. I mean, why is that such an important part for event organisers these days?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the third pillar of our legacy program is creating environmentally sustainable events. And that crosses things from waste management to energy use within the venue, and of course the food and beverage supply chain. So we spend a lot of time developing direct relationships with farmers and wine producers that are within New South Wales, so that we can not only make sure that clients are getting beautiful, fresh local produce when they're eating meals, and Australia is renowned for wonderful fresh produce, whether it's seafood or zucchini. I mean, everything's beautiful and tasty. But having those direct relationships with farmers, first of all, they're guaranteed that they'll be paid on time. So they're often small businesses, they're often family-run businesses, so they're not necessarily big corporations running the local supplier companies. But it also means that when, say, there's a hailstorm coming and the farmer has to go and pick all of his cherries, he can call us and say, Chef, I've got a glut of cherries, and we'll pay, we'll pay proper price rather than discounted price, because we have such big events. We can use cherries in cherry tarts and cherries for fruit breakfast and any number of things, and help him out while still providing this beautiful local fresh produce.
And I've also seen that you've now had ASM Global extended the management contract. That's good news.
That's right. I mean, the end of last year marked a wonderful 10-year celebration. ASM Global has been managing ICC Sydney for 10 years, so that was 3 years of pre-opening, so being a part of the detailed design of the venue, establishing the brand, marketing the venue, so that when we opened in December 2016 we had 500 events ready to go. But it also, of course we've now been, our contract's been renewed for another 10 years, which is wonderful for the team and wonderful for Sydney because we've got a great track record of performing well.
And how's 2024 looking? Is it looking to be a good year?
Fantastic year. We've got some really wonderful events underway. We've had a number of big international events already this year, from manufacturing to medical science. And later this year we're holding an event called the first ever Global Nature Positive Summit. So a little bit like a COP. Our federal environment minister is pulling environment ministers in from around the world and investors who are seeking to invest in biodiversity projects. So it's going to be a wonderful first off event that seeks to renew nature, because of course if nature isn't healthy, how can people be healthy?
And you've placed a big emphasis on sustainability as well. That's an important element of the business. Have you found that the buyers coming in or asking you, the RFPs, the questions they're asking have changed quite a bit, the demands have changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the decision-making process in regards to how sustainable a destination is and how sustainable a venue is increases year on year. And we had a client dinner on Monday night and everybody around the table was talking about sustainability, was talking about social impact, and so it's just great to be able to have these discussions and great to have the credentials to say, well, we can help you.
And do you see there's a certain demand in terms of bringing a certain type of event, any key economic sectors that are sort of interested in coming to ICC Sydney than any other?
Oh look, it really is the broad spectrum of global industry. You know, we are the garden in which industry comes to grow, comes to network, comes to meet one another. But as well as those all important medical and health events, we're seeing more sustainability events, more tech events, more green tech events and agri-tech events. So a lot more technology events is probably the big change for us.
Okay, and then sort of connectivity-wise, coming into Sydney, so things sort of you're finding a lot more airlines coming out. That there is generally, I mean, Sydney's obviously a desirable location as it is, but there is definitely an upward trend and events coming in.
So the flights are all back in, and of course next year we're opening a second airport out in Western Sydney, which will just increase supply even more.
Fantastic. And being here at I.M.E.C.E, so what do why is I.M.E.C.E an important event for ICC Sydney?
Look, the ability to meet with, up to 100 people in 3 or 4 days is just a wonderful thing to be able to do. You spend weeks on the road trying to meet all of those people in their communities. So we're in the meetings industry, and this is just another great example of why meetings are so important.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good rest of the show.